And welcome back. Green Party leader Annamie Paul's battle with her party's executive continues unabated. Two of Paul's personal staff are reported to have received layoff notices. What could the continuing turmoil within the leadership mean for the Green Party? The Power Panel is here with their quick takes. Elliot Hughes is a senior advisor at Summa Strategies and a former advisor for Ministers Morneau and Sajjan. Nancy Hepner is a senior advisor at Strategy Corp and a former Saskatchewan Party cabinet minister. Andrew Thompson, Chief of Government Relations for the University of Toronto and a former Saskatchewan finance minister, and Niigaan Sinclair. He's a columnist for the Winnipeg Free Press and associate professor at the University of Manitoba. Nancy, I'd like to start with you if I can. I mean, the Green Party is laying off its staff. They're not hiring a national campaign coordinator, and they've gotten rid of the two staff who work closely with Paul, including the people in Toronto Centre, where she's trying to get elected. How do you prepare for an election when this is what's happening inside your party?
I don't know, David. I was thinking about this earlier today. I haven't watched soap operas since I was in my 20s, and I certainly don't need to start now. All I have to do is open up the news in the morning to see what the Green Party is doing to themselves. I don't know. This seems to be a complete undermining of Ms. Paul's leadership, particularly when she's trying to get elected. And I think that the folks involved in this, she says it's a small part of her party, not the majority. If that's true. They're not just hurting Ms. Paul, they're hurting their entire party across the country, and I don't really know what they expect to gain from this.
Yeah, Andrew, our David Thurton was the first to report a while back that during a meeting, the executive director of the party muted Annamie Paul when she was trying to speak on Zoom to ask questions about layoffs in her office, and now this happens with the people closest to her. I mean, how do you even function under these circumstances?
Yeah, well, there's no worse battle in politics than the internecine warfare that goes on between factions within a party. And it's clear that, the leadership, although it's supposed to solve those things when you go through a leadership battle, the losing side is supposed to acquiesce and allow the new leader to step in and move forward. That's not happened here. And it's fascinating because this was supposed to be the opportunity for a breakthrough for the breakthrough election for the Greens. And so far, it's shaping up as if one where, they may very well get completely wiped off the map. Now, part of that, I think, is that Paul's a pretty unconventional leader. She's made some very curious, if not, just outright strange decisions, like running in Toronto Centre, a riding which the Greens have, very little chance of winning, running against a black woman MP, claiming that the riding should have a black woman MP when it already does in the Liberals' Marcy Ian. The inability to figure out how to work with the various factions in the party. I mean, there's so many things that have just not worked with her leadership that I'm not surprised that it's continuing to boil over. But at some point, the Greens have got to figure out either they're a serious party and they are in this to make moves forward, or they're not.
I mean, Elliot, what's your take on all of this?
Well, I guess the question is sort of why is this happening? Because it's clear it is happening. And so the question quickly turns to why. And it seems as though that there's some sour grapes from the former leader. The party structure itself is such that the leader actually clearly doesn't have as much control as perhaps a leader in another federal party does, thereby hampering their ability to actually institute the policies that they'd like to see. And so you've got this sort of strange dynamic of Ms. Paul, who is perhaps, as was mentioned, a different type of Green leader, really being submarined by our own party. And it's unfortunate to see because there was a great promise to her leadership of the Green Party. And I think there was a great promise to some potential wins in the upcoming election. But, why this is happening is unfortunately down, it seems as though, to some rather petty internal politics and some sour grapes from former leaders.
Niigaan, the fact that the Green Party leader doesn't have the power of, say, the Liberal Party leader or the Conservative Party leader, the Greens have always sold as a feature, not a bug, right? Meant to differentiate them from it. But Annamie Paul's the face of the party, and she's going to bear the success or the failure of the party in this campaign. And it just doesn't look like she's getting any help.
No, this is exactly what it looks like when you have a one-person party with Elizabeth May and trying to expand that, grow a base. Annamie Paul released her preliminary shadow cabinet today as well, and it's notable that Elizabeth May, Paul Manley, the people who are in Parliament are not the immediate names that are coming on the list. They may yet come out. She came out and said they have multiple portfolios, but certainly the challenge is that the party is clearly not with her. The party, in many ways, the institutional leadership that still goes back to the days of Elizabeth May, is undermining her, and it looks like she won't have a seat going forward into the future. So how do you run a party? Well, you probably don't. And while the bar is very high to remove her, 70%, the non-confidence vote has been called by the party executives, and so we'll see how that turns out. It may just be that the Greens go into this election without a leader.
Yeah, Nancy, I wonder, like, I don't think we know yet if the party is with her or not, but certainly senior elements of the party structure clearly have a problem with Ms. Paul, and she has this vote that is set for July 20th, and that's where they need 70% for the National Council. If she survives that vote, is that it? You know, do you think everything's good and pleasant in the Green Party going forward? Because it seems unlikely that that will even resolve it at this point.
I don't think the vote will resolve it. I think that there are those in the party who want to see her gone. I don't think her surviving a confidence vote is going to save her from those same people who are trying to oust her. I think her leadership, if not permanently damaged, is very much damaged in the short term, particularly heading into an election when you need to have strong leadership in order to make those breakthroughs in other parts of the country that they're looking to make. And I think she's in a very weakened state, regardless of what happens on July 20th. I think she's in a very weakened state.
So, Andrew, just quickly, what does she need to do between now and July 20th when that vote takes place?
Well, I think she needs to continue to be clear about what her leadership means in terms of an opportunity for the Green Party. She needs to continue to rally support behind her. I mean, leaders, face these kind of factional fights all the time. Ask John Turner or Joe Clark. I mean, this is part of the art of leadership, is to be able to bring people along with you. And if you don't have it, you're probably not the best person to lead a federal party. So, those are the big pieces. Figure out how to bridge, the relationship with Elizabeth May, and to make sure that it's clear in terms of focusing their efforts not on just the internal party politics, but actually presenting a face of something coherent to the Canadian public.